Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of G Bear's Off-Grid Ways, a homestead in the desert. And today was a beautiful day, just like yesterday. Near 80 degrees, just shorts and flip-flops walking around today and doing my job and working like normal. But today, I have to say that I did work more on my tan than I did on anything else. Anyway, just kidding. All right, here we are. Outdoor shower, my mass shower, and it's time to get that thing up and running again today because the warm weather is starting to come in. So this is basically a solar shower. I got a black barrel and a blue barrel, and both of them heat up just by the sun. And the sun comes up from that direction, goes down in that direction. So about this time in the afternoon, I'd say it's 4 o'clock or so, somewhere in there, the sun is off of these barrels so they can cool down a little bit if I want to take an evening shower before I go into the cabin. But during the day, those things warm up pretty fast, and the black barrel gets a lot hotter than the blue barrel, as you can imagine. And I have to keep both of them open to mix the two, otherwise the water is just too hot to shower with. But during the day, when it's really hot out, when it's up in the 90s and 100-degree temperatures in the summertime, what I do is 3 or 4 times during the day, I'll just step into the outdoor shower here, pull on the little cable, and get wet down, and then step out and air dry. Now that's the little cable I'm talking about, chain, whatever you want to call it, with the little thing on there. And when I'm taking a shower in the afternoons, I actually have a screw right there that this loop will hook on to keep the valve turned on, so I can be hands-free to wash my hair, things like that. And it's just a regular shower head in there, and it doesn't come out and spray on you real hard because it's only gravity feed, and it's just real comfortable outdoor shower. I put this flap on last year so that I can open it up and let some air through, and it's just held up by this piece. I can just push that up and close this down if the wind's blowing too much and I don't want to get chilly inside there. This little unit right here is a fill tube, so I don't have to climb up there to fill the barrels. What I do is I just hook my my transfer pump up with a little short garden hose to that section, open the valve, and turn the pump on, and I pump the water up to those 2 barrels. Now, when my water tank is full, when the head is at the top of that tank, I can just open up this valve right here, and the water, because these are actually lower than the head of that tank, the water will come in here and fill those 2 barrels up, and then I just shut it off like it is right now. So this is where I hang my towel, and I have a clip here because the wind will blow your towel away, and then you're running around outside like Adam or Eve and trying to find your towel. And if it's all the way across the desert, that's could be a little embarrassing if somebody drove down the road. Anyway, got a little mirror here for shaving, and I got a sink out here that is also hooked up to the same water, so I can just wash my hands, things like that, if I want to. That's all there is to this, and this is a little towel ring that someone gave me, and I just hung it there so I could put a towel on here for working at the sink. All right, so what else did I do today? Well, burnt up some papers. I've got a lot of old business records that are 20 years old that need to be just burnt up. 17 years old went in there today. So I added my screen door back because the flies are starting to come around, and I wanted to be able to leave the solid door open during the day and let it be nice and cool inside there, just from this is the shady side of the cabin, so it's real nice that the air can flow through there. And I can open up the 2 windows on the 2 sides, or the 2 ends, and let wind blow through that way. It's been really weird lately. I hope you can hear me with the wind blowing. It's just a light breeze, but the winds have all been coming out of the exact opposite direction that they did all last year, and the normal direction that they did all last year. So it's, as you can see, the flag is pointing to where the wind usually comes out of. It's just been weird this year. Anyway, I got up my two hummingbird feeders because I have seen hummingbirds around. So I got one in front of each window so I can be sitting inside and watch the hummingbirds feed. And they kind of like it in front of the window. They kind of fly over and they do a stop and back up again because they see the reflections in the glass and they think it's another hummingbird on the other side. Pretty interesting to watch. If I can get it on film, I'll show it to you. All right, already fed the chickens. And you'll see some white spots on the ground here and there. And you say, what's that? Well, the ants are starting to show up. So I usually use diatomaceous earth, but I'm all out. So I'm using hydrated lime. And that's what you mix in with mortar when you're doing concrete, brickwork, things like that. You can also use it as an odor eater in the outhouse. Sprinkle some down onto the waste down there and it'll keep the odors down. It also keeps the flies away, and it dries up the waste quicker so that it breaks down quicker. All right, so I put some of that on the ant hills and it seems to do the job. Wipes them out all in one day. So that's a good thing. What else did I do today? Well, I came down to the garden house and I took a lot of the plants out of the inside and I brought them down to the garden house to start hardening them up. And I didn't transplant them. I just brought them in just in case the weather goes south on me again and gets a couple of cold days coming in, although I don't see it happening. I just brought them out here in the pots so that they can harden up a little bit and I can take them in if something happens. Now there's my Kiefer pear tree right here. And because the winds have been blowing, I put two stakes in there with a plastic tie to hold them up. Another thing I did was I added a shelf on the wall over here, and I checked with the sun through all times of the day, and I put my hand on here to see where the shadow was going to be, and it does not shadow any part of the underside growing places, so it'll work out great up there. Right now I've got all the raspberries up here, the black raspberries, and here's my red raspberry that I've been growing indoors. I'll put that in here, and I've got one more pot here, so I need one more berry plant. Well, I might just wait until that one comes off a little bit, it gets a little bit bigger, and then take a clipping and root it and put it on this side. Or who knows, somebody might give me one, or I might go pick one up somewhere. All right, potatoes are sprouting. You can see those coming up down here just perfectly. And I noticed that right down here, there's a sweet potato, and there's a sprout coming out of it right there. So maybe I'll get some of both of those yet this year. The trees are greening up just nicely. My little herb garden here, I've got some more herbs to go into there. I'll get those in ASAP. I put some of the other trees up here that I got from Aurora so that they weren't down on the side over there where I have to get in to start working. And who knows, it depends on what I plant. I might leave those in there for quite a while, and we'll just move them over closer to this side because they won't block the sun on anything on this side, but on that side they might. So if I plant stuff on that side that takes partial sun, things like that, then it won't hurt anything. Then I could take some of the citrus trees that are down there and put them in between these, space them out, get that going. And you see how it blew over all my corn with all the winds we had the other day. My grapevine's out here. Now I didn't transplant that either, but I did put it in the center, and I tied it up with one of the wires just in case the winds blow. On the shelf here, I made 2 little T-panels for the ends, and then I took a piece of rope, I drilled holes, and I ran a piece of rope around both sides. So when the winds blow, these things can't blow off of the shelf. Pretty cool, huh? Then I had one more little shelf bracket, and I had a little chunk of wood left over. So I made another shelf here for my garlic plants, because I did have them sitting down there, and now I've got all my sprouts are coming up for all my lettuce, and I had to get that out of there. So I put it up here, and I didn't have any wood to block this one from blowing off in the winds. So I grabbed a couple of those covers from the plastic pails that were falling apart. I put the short one on this end to keep it from sliding. I put the 2 tall ones on the side so it keeps it from tipping. So that'll work up for that. As you can see, everything's looking really nice in here. The onions are coming up really good. And my buds on this peach tree are looking good. And I got a couple of more corn sprouts popped up over there, but I've got a fresh bag of corn seed. I'm going to sprout those indoors probably starting tomorrow. And I might have to do them in the quick method that I use, where I put them inside a plastic bag with, and I'll soak them with Go Juice to start off ahead. Now, I'm sorry, but I also promised somebody that I would do a video on turbines and get some information out on there. And he said that his English isn't that good, and he was going to have to translate everything. So I figured if I do a video and he has to translate it, he can use a translator to translate right on the YouTube. And because I do have that checked for to let people be able to translate if they have to. So I'm not going to get into that today, because we're already getting up here at past 12 minutes of this video, and I don't want to have everybody snoring and keeping me awake tonight. Kidding. No, but I will do a video tomorrow on the turbine setup and certain things and necessities. Some of it will be addressed that has already been addressed before, but he wants to be a little bit more particular on some of the needs, necessities, and wire sizes and things like that. So I will get into that tomorrow. All right, everybody. That's all there is for today. Got all my trees pruned. I did some work inside the containers. It's just been a busy day, and I've got some real cold ones on ice inside the cooler, inside the room. So I'm going to go inside and sit down and relax, and then I'll get ready to make my dinner up, watch some TV, and have a couple of cold ones. And I hope the weather is again like this tomorrow, because it's just beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful out here. All except for the sky riders up there. You can see the junk that they're doing to me. They started early this morning and clouded the whole sky over. Everything that you see, all these clouds that are out here right now, everything that you see was all done by aircraft. Somebody said, I can't believe you think that was all done by aircraft. No, I don't think it was. I watched it. I know it was. I watched this all happen all day long today. And I would love to video it all, but you'd have to sit here for an 8-hour video to see it all happen. But it starts off with a little tiny streak like that. Then they break open to larger streaks like that. And then they get wider into larger streaks like that. And then they join together like this. And then they crisscross them. And it all closes in and fogs over and clouds up the whole sky. All right, everybody. G-Bear reminding you, give me a thumbs up down there. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with your friends. I will leave some links to my past videos about the turbine stuff, and anybody who wants to go back and look at that, it'll be a recap for you, and I'll leave those down in the comment section below. G-Bear signing off.